Good morning, everyone. This is the monthly meeting of the Council on Aging Board of Directors. Excuse me. May I have a motion to call the meeting to order at 9:35?
I make a motion to call the meeting to order.
I second.
Who seconded?
Me.
Thank you. Minutes of the September 27th. Oh, yes, the mission statement. Excuse me.
Okay.
Marie, would you?
Surely. The mission of the Groveland Council on Aging is to advocate for Groveland's older adults, to identify their needs, to develop and implement services to meet their health, economic, social, and cultural needs, to encourage maximum independence, and to improve their quality of life.
Thank you. Okay. Now, the minutes of the September 27th, 2023 meeting. May I have a motion to approve? So moved. Second. Who moved?
You did.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion of the minutes? All those in favor?
Excellent job.
Aye.
So moved, thank you. Treasurer's report.
So the treasurer's report is in my executive
I got one of those.
director's report with the. Did you get one of these? I put in there that there, nothing significant happened in regards to funding that came in or went out last month. But there is the financial report in there, and then noting that we do have this finance committee, and I needed to do a better job with Marie in the first place. I will make sure to try to get out those financial reports via Excel to you guys in advance, so then you can walk through, and always great to have another set of eyes. Yeah, but if there's any specific questions, more than happy to answer, but really just sort of minimal bills and so, yep.
Any questions or comments on the financial report?
This is percentage remaining.
Of our sort of that bucket.
Right, okay.
Do we have to?
Which looks in line,
do
because
we have to-
we're 75% away. This is through the end of September, right?
think so.
Or is it even,
Yes,
yeah.
through the end of September.
So we're 75% of the way through the fiscal year, so having 80% remaining
Yep.
seems in
Button
line.
Green. Oh, no, okay. Sorry.
All right, if there's no discussion or questions, then go right into the director's report.
So I want to leave room, because I know there's a lot of discussion about board committees, and also our guests here today are friends of the Groveland Council on Aging. A couple of highlights I put on the front page of my report is that I had attended the Massachusetts Council on Aging conference last week. It was a really great experience, and very thankful for you all giving me the time and to be able to attend the sessions, to be able to learn, to be able to network, and hopefully bring a lot of really wonderful ideas back here to Groveland. So thank you for that. The bulk of the report really is, I wanted to check in on my 90 days or somewhere within that. And I shared this with the team yesterday, being comprised of Nisha Burke, our assistant director, and Joe Walsh, our current driver and staff on Tuesdays. So I think I had talked about definitely during my initial interviews and also in the first meetings here about sort of my goals and objectives for my first 90 days. And really, big picture, just wanting to learn, right? Listen and learn. And I feel that I have accomplished that by starting internally with the staff, with the board, moving to the friends and our constituents, and then networking outside to community partners. I met with the church, with Pastor Dana last week, and it was really wonderful. So 90 days is a great box, but still continuing to learn and continuing to grow. That said, I do feel that I am fully productive, working autonomously in the director role, and hopefully having a significant impact in leading the organization. Throughout my time learning over the past 90 days, I spent some time reflecting on what I feel my leadership vision is for this organization. Be it with the internal team, with the staff, and our constituents. And I detailed it out in this packet, so definitely feel free to read sort of takeaways for me that I would like to sort of state here is number one is people first, right? People first for me as a leader, for our team, to make sure that they have the needs or they have the materials and support needed to do their jobs well. And their job is to serve our people, our constituents, the older adults in our communities, and make sure that we are actively listening and responding to them. And sort of topic under that is making sure that we have an open and transparent communications, and so that I don't want myself to only focus on leadership or budgets. I don't want Nisha to only focus on her sector or driver. I really do want it to be for us to be thought partners. We can't do it alone. We can't do it without the board. We can't do it without the friends. And so I just want this continuous loop of feedback for us to be receptive when receiving that feedback of all kinds, and to also to hold myself accountable for the team to give me that same feedback as well. So those are the big things for me. I shared that with the team yesterday. We had a short team meeting, shared it with them both orally and gave them the document to read. I feel good about it, but happy to answer any questions you would like about it. It's okay, yes.
First, I'd like to say this is such a professional director's report. I'm like, whoa.
Yes.
Very, very informative, professional, and as far as your first 90 days, I think you're above on target.
Thank
You're
you.
hitting bullseyes each time.
Thank you.
Agree.
Sort of the next steps as I see it, but very interested in hearing your feedback, but wanted to put something out there. When I went through the interviews, when I met with all of you individually, a big theme that came out, number one, is visibility, right? Visibility, which in turn means getting more people in here and serving more of our community and making sure their needs are met. So that's where I see my focus being for the next, year or so, concurrently with the day-to-day work that we have to do. And so with that, I had mentioned in here, really wanting to put together an intentional marketing plan, being all points of contact for hard copy flyers that sort of really give an overview of, like you would for any other business. Here's what we do, what we offer, and how you can access it. Making sure that there is proper signage at all of our events, and digital campaigns and so forth. So really trying to meet our constituents where they are, and our constituents in the broadest sense of the term, of course, are older adults, but all of those people that have older adults in their lives too. With that, I want to stress the significance of adopting, as I've spoken about before, a multi-generational perspective. At the conference, and I'm sure many of you have heard of the Age Friendly Initiative throughout the state. I think about currently 250 cities are age friendly right now. Groveland is not one of them. It is a commitment that the town needs to make. And I would love to move forward with trying to implement that and what exactly it takes. Essentially, it's a commitment saying that we acknowledge that we need to do this for the betterment of our community. And then there's certainly initiatives that we can take to say, with that commitment, these are our goals and what we're achieving. Because we can't do this alone. We need the town support to have that. Yes.
What does it involve to become one of those communities that is considered age-friendly as far as the state's concerned?
Yeah, so I should have put the website on there. So it is a state initiative. It's one of the only in the country, I think, that are making that happen. There's also actually age-friendly and dementia-friendly. I feel like age-friendly is probably broader and a good entry point for us. It's really, I'm going to meet with I plan to connect with the director. I believe her name is Patty Sullivan, to sort of work out a plan. It's not a concrete, you must do X, Y, and Z, but you do have to make a commitment, and then we, of course, have to follow through on the commitment of what we're doing. And then we're also known for being age-friendly. But I can absolutely get you more specifics on that, and would love your ideas on what we might want to take on for that. In correlation with that, I also wanted to, we have, as you were sort of alluding to, Barbara, this, we need a platform to rally behind. And one of the takeaways I had from the conference, as well as just lived experience, is a focus on dementia. Because not only do many of us are personally affected by it, it also, the numbers of people that we know are affected by it, from kids in elementary school all the way on up, of course, to our older adults. I read, and learned that 1 in 10 U.S. older adults, 65 plus, have dementia, and that's only rising as we continue forward. But there are some really phenomenal resources out there, and a great opportunity to educate our community about how we can best support the needs. So that was an idea I was proposing to sort of collectively move forward with something. I also feel that this marketing year really can serve as a soft phase of, and we need a senior center, so once we let people know that we are active, we have lots of people, these are the programs going, then this can serve as getting that initiative out. Then hopefully, in the next year or so, we make a really hard push for that. So that was me. That was all I would say on my report. It's a lot of information in there. I have a lot of updates in there. I would like to say, a huge thank you. Last week, since I was out and we were short-staffed, many of you volunteered your time to help the food pantry and traveling chef for deliveries. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, Nisha secured a donation from Long Hill Orchard Farm in West Newbury. They are donating cider and donuts for our event tomorrow, Thursday, October 19th. It'll be here in the center room. Anybody that is able and is open to join us. Really just a casual conversation, just to meet one another and have some cider and donuts. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you for that very comprehensive and well thought out director's report.
I also think that the idea of focus is very important. I think it is something that we can all rally behind, and as you said, it touches all of us. So I thank you for your leadership. That's a great idea.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Changes in outreach and van driver positions.
Yeah, I mentioned it in my on the highlight, but I did not say it out loud. So Janet Del Mar's last day was Thursday, October 5th. a couple of weeks ago. We are actively hiring for a outreach and food pantry manager. The title has changed slightly to be more explicit in what the job entails. We have it out there in quite a few job boards. Haven't received too many applications yet, but if you all know of any places in addition that I should post or just want to see if I posted there, please don't hesitate to let me know. We'll also, I think, be posting again for the sub driver, for the sub van driver. The sub that we had wanted, it didn't, things come up, so it didn't quite work out. So we are still looking to have a roster of sub drivers. Joe Walsh, again, has been incredible, and he even has some ideas about who can come in. Frank is still on leave of absence, but we are hoping, we're going to touch base actually tomorrow. I just talked to him yesterday with perhaps a more firm date on when we can expect him back, but right now it remains the same of hopefully sometime early November.
May I ask, did Frank, when you spoke with Frank, did he mention any needs that he has that we can help to fill?
I'm sorry, Irene, could you repeat that question?
Oh, in talking with Frank, I wondered if he indicated any needs that he might have, given his
Oh, okay.
limited mobility, that we might be able to fill or
Yeah,
support.
I would just note that being a public meeting, we certainly want to, one, appreciate your kindness, but be mindful of his privacy. Nisha did ask if there was anything that we would like to do collectively as, we miss you, Frank, kind of thing, so we can certainly talk about that
Great.
if you would like, yeah.
Pantry and food service updates.
Absolutely, would love to hear from those involved. I will say that we have a pantry inspection. We were supposed to do it last week. There were some miscommunications on the Greater Boston Food Bank side, so we rescheduled it, and it will be in person by all three parties, of course, ourselves, the Greater Boston Food Bank, and Our Neighbors Table on October 26th. I hear last week went well. There wasn't any negative feedback that we had received, which was great to hear. We did receive gift card donations from individuals and from the church since our last meeting. So again, so appreciative of that. One sort of impact thing with the UTEC box deliveries, those are boxes from the UTEC organization. They gave out 5 boxes to us in Groveland, and they abruptly stopped. They were absolutely a great resource. I will say that it did have a lot of the regular pantry items that we have, so we can certainly fill that void. But it was sort of a shock to hear that we're stopping this program. We don't have any details why, other than funding wasn't there for it.
Anything else on those who have been working in the food pantry? Anything that would like to mention?
I guess the only thing that I would say is that we just need some information from you as to whether you want additional volunteers,
Yeah.
or
so-
Nisha to do that, or something to reach out, just so that,
Thank you. Last week, I hope was an anomaly just because I was out. I think with Nisha and I both in the office, one of us will absolutely be able to be in the outreach office during food pantry hours with the regular volunteer portion. So thank you,
Okay.
though. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Friends of Groveland Council on Aging update.
Is that, to clarify, is that from us, or are we doing the joint meeting?
No, this is I think their update since their last meeting. Is that what you- That's typically what we have on the agenda. I think. So I don't know, I mean, I think last time Larry spoke up, it was about the, Groveland Day and all that kind of thing, yeah.
Okay.
But, because this is under old business, do you want to wait and put this under the new business, and if there's an update?
Yeah, sure.
Although Larry's looking like he
I
has something
don't,
to
I don't
say.
have a report, no.
No, okay.
Okay.
And they're here, so they can
Right.
report as we do the, okay.
All right, anything else under old business that's not on the agenda? Moving on to new business. Oh, sorry, senior center is under old business, sorry. Don't want to forget that.
anywhere.
Do we want to wait and do that under the discussion, under new business of the, with your agenda, your draft agenda? We can move that down.
Okay. I do not plan on talking about the senior center on the shared responsibilities.
Excuse me. John called and told me he would not be able to be here till after 10, so hopefully we will be able to get some
Okay,
information
so-
from John.
Okay, we can move that down then and wait for John. Okay, thank you. November, December newsletter.
Yeah, so that is working on finalizing it this week. It'll be sent to the printer. We should have it. I don't have the calendar in front of me. The 27th, is that a Monday? 29th? Somewhere.
27th.
I think it's the 30th.
Friday.
Oh, the
27th is a
30th, you're right, the
Friday.
30th. Thank
30th
you,
is
Marie.
a Monday,
Yeah,
yes.
so we should have it in hand in the office, and we'll do our community distributions as the COA has done in the past. For those that pay for mailing, there's a handful of those people. We will mail it out, and certainly everybody who is on our email list, you will get it via email next week.
It'll be good, you'll get it the day before the Halloween
Yeah.
party too, so you'll
Yeah.
have that.
Because we do have, on that note, and I didn't put it for upcoming events, I don't think, an event coming up pretty early on in November. I think it's Thursday, that first Thursday in November, we have Medicare 101. It is open enrollment. So for people that have any questions about that, we will be holding an informational meeting.
Oh, that's good.
Trying to think what we had said, we had discussed about about the newsletter going forward last time. There was something. Does anyone remember?
So we are going to have a highlight from our our newest team member, Joe Walsh.
Okay.
So that will be in there.
Good,
and,
good, good.
Good. And then we can discuss at a future, our next meeting perhaps, of what to put, who to focus on in the next one, because we wanted to do a focus of someone, whether it be a staff member, board member, community member, friends member, so that I get to know your, et cetera, so that everybody out there gets to know a little bit more about each one of us.
Yeah, I will say that we reached out to Valerie. I know that she had a couple of profiles on file. We had anticipated doing one, but I think the interview took place a while ago. We reached out to that person, and they have asked us not to print it at this time.
Okay. Performance evaluation plans. Let's see here.
That was personnel.
The Personnel Subcommittee,
The Personnel Subcommittee did not meet, so we're not ready to discuss that.
That's you, Irene, and Larry.
no, I'm not in the, well, it's ex officio, it's Irene, Larry, and, yeah.
I mentioned to Deb and Laurel, who were putting on the list of committees, that if there's an opportunity for me to know what I'm being evaluated on sooner than later, that would be appreciated.
All right, and future programs, you just mentioned the Medicare 101, which is great and timely.
Yeah, so the Halloween party, I will note, it is sold out. So if you did not purchase or RSVP yet, you will be put on the wait list. It does have a meal, and so we really can't have people walking in that we haven't said you're able to come in, because then you won't have a meal and we'll feel bad. So, yeah, and then Plan It Your Way estate planning workshop is taking place next week on Thursday, October 26th, with attorney Elaine Dalton, and a van trip on Monday, the 23rd, to Man's Orchard and China Blossom.
All right, great, thank you. Discussion of monthly meeting focus area for Council on Aging Board.
That is,
Thank you, Deb, for putting it all together.
so yeah, everyone should have one that Larry kindly made, a copy of this.
This one.
Laurel, Alyssa, and I have worked on this over email, and a couple of different iterations where we tried to take feedback, and some other people sent me feedback on what they thought should be included. This goes back to our discussion a few months ago about trying to have a specific focus so that we get to be a little, we learn as a board, we learn more about, you know, what the board's role is, and also about the actual day-to-day activities in some cases, and in some cases, maybe can be a little more strategic. So this is what we came up with as our proposed list. We can discuss it, make changes, adopt it. So if you have any questions, feel free. At the bottom, there's a section that says annual requirements. I just put those on there so that we'd have a kind of a context for, you know, when there were certain things that we absolutely have to do as we reviewed these.
So just as a quick overview for our friends who are here and also for those who are watching, it was discussed that, as Deb mentioned, that we need to have a monthly topic at the board meeting so that we can educate ourselves as well as others on various things that happen during the year. So for example, in November, it would be a financial overview, talking about operating, budget line items, revolving, existing grants, how they're used, et cetera, and again, to educate all of us as well as others. December, an overview of the budget preparation, because that's budget time. January, van usage and cost, better ways to utilize this asset. February, bylaws review. March, outreach operations, including the pantry. April, a discussion and overview of social programming. May, elder law review and community and statewide partner information. And June, organizational goals for the upcoming fiscal year. So those are the monthly topics that have been suggested.
And we are kind of, I mean, ideally, we can also talk about organizational goals soon, you know, both for Alyssa and her team as well as for evaluations. But I wanted to get it on the calendar kind of as a annual thing, so we tie into the town's fiscal year.
And that's when, going forward, we would be doing your evaluation at that time, well, probably July, the beginning of the
Yeah,
month.
right. And,
the next
yeah,
month.
and typically what we want is you know, when you evaluate someone, at the same time, you want to set their goals for the upcoming year. So that's why it's here, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't also be doing it sooner for the next 9 months or 8 months.
Okay, and then just listed under annual requirements, November, December, director evaluation. February, March, budget approval, and June, report of nominating committee and board elections, as well as formation of standing subcommittees. I think this looks very detailed and certainly doable, so do we need to, is there discussion on
I'm
it?
now looking at this as I'm seeing it, I'm sorry.
That's great.
And I saw it many times, but now I'm seeing it in big print. Looking back at the budget approval, I think that may have to happen earlier.
Yeah, so I don't know, you all would know best. I believe the town administrator was speaking with the select board about the schedule, for meetings. I haven't been informed as of yet when our department meeting will be with the,
It's
but yeah.
typically in January.
Yeah, yeah,
Just knowing from the library and this past year,
Yeah.
we had to have everything, meet with them.
yeah.
So that may have to be bumped up.
So we can move that earlier.
Yeah, I think that may need to be
Okay.
bumped up. I'm sorry, I should have.
No, that's fine.
Because I saw it up here.
That's fine. I was just thinking the warrant gets put together in March usually for town meeting in
and
May, so that's why.
Everything has to be finalized by
Right.
then. And
But yeah.
even with the bylaws, if we do decide to change the bylaws, that has to be on the warrant.
Right. Yeah, that's
So,
why I put
we're
that in
doing
February.
February, if we have, but we'd have to make sure to vote on it, because everyone here would have to vote on any changes made. Then it has to go on the town warrant, so the town gets to vote any changes in our bylaws. So, but it doesn't have to happen like, if it happens and we do it the following year, that's okay. We could still operate under those kind of, under the old ones, and if there are better things we're doing, it's fine. So, okay. I learned all this being in the absence of a director for a couple of months here, or many months. But I think that may have to be moved.
January.
So in December, we do have the overview of the budget preparation,
Right.
so that could well encompass it. I will say that van usage and costs, I envision that as a pretty short conversation. It's $2,500 goes to gas.
Right.
Yeah, I'm more thinking, I think the reason, and I keep putting this one on here and holding it, is I just think that the van is a huge asset. It's probably the single biggest asset
Yeah,
we have.
it is.
And that I'd like to be able to look at better ways to utilize it, and in order to do that, I think that we need to understand the current usage, the costs. I have had several people in town say to me that they feel that our rides are overpriced and too expensive. So I'd kind of like to be able to understand how we've priced those, and if, just because it has been brought up, and I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
we need to
absolutely.
give people an answer.
Uh-huh.
And also, are there better ways, how else can we utilize it? So, and I just was afraid that if we combined it in with November, that November would just be an extremely long meeting.
Actually, and better ways to utilize all of our assets, how to better utilize the tent, any of the other things that we own in our senior center.
So at our next meeting in November, where we do have the financial overview, including the differences between operating budget line items, could we ask perhaps Ellen or Rebecca or someone from the town side to come in and help us understand that and explain the difference between things, and if there's, dates that you have to do certain things by, and
For what?
for this financial overview, so that we need to know the difference, for example, between operating budget line items, revolving line items,
I'd be happy,
grants.
You understand it all.
yeah. So I can explain it. That was my intention.
Okay.
But we can certainly see if somebody,
Even if it's just the deadlines, as we're not sure, you're not sure yet, because you've heard
deadlines for
how-
what.
For when things have to be turned in, like even grants, because we have grants included there. Like the DOT grant, we know if we're going to continue that has to be in these, when does it have to
It
be
was
in?
June.
It was June, had to be in,
So
right?
those are so the grants themselves have their own deadlines that we're working with.
Right.
So it's not a town thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
then,
the-
okay. Well,
It's
so that
when
could
it has to be
explained.
in per, each grant is different.
Yes.
And then we just need to close the books as an organization and municipality by the end of the
Oh, I didn't know
fiscal
if that
year.
had to do with Ellen or not.
I mean, she makes sure that we do it, but.
And we'll also, this coming November meeting, we'll have to work on the evaluation, definitely. Right, your evaluation.
Yeah, but shouldn't that really be the,
Well, we have to
my vision of
look
the
at it.
the subcommittee personnel subcommittee needs to meet
and present, this is what we're
Right.
evaluating, because we each evaluate, I think, or not, or we
I
just
don't know,
having
that's,
them-
I think we're kind of waiting for the Personnel Subcommittee to tell us that. That's kind of the way I feel. Is I'm waiting for
each weigh
direction.
in. Yeah, I don't know if we each weigh in or they decide.
I
know,
I would love all the feedback.
Well,
I mean, yeah,
I
I
know
would
at the
think-
library, as we're evaluating Darcy, each one of the board members
Yeah.
or trustees has the same form. We evaluate,
Yeah.
collate, put it together. and then
That's
she
what
does
I'm
it,
used
yeah.
to.
Yeah,
It's a big process.
but the rest of us that aren't on the Personnel Subcommittee need that.
Right. Guidance
We need
or-
you to give us what we need to do.
Right. Well, they need to come up with the form, and then from there.
Yeah,
All right, is there any other discussion on this proposed future topics?
Can sorry, I don't
Of
mean to draw
course,
it out.
question,
But
discussion.
just thinking about for November, maybe if you all could come up with the questions you have,
yes.
and then that way I will know if I have the answers or not, or if we need to get somebody else in here.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you. Next is oh, sorry, just moving on. Well, John isn't here yet, so do we want to get into the discussion on the, what, Alyssa did a proposed agenda, Council on Aging Board, Friends, what their roles are for clarification and information.
Yeah, if we could, I wonder if we could invite our friends.
Yeah, to
up
join us,
share
yeah.
microphones.
That way
Is that okay?
Let's be friendly to the friends.
You want to invite them up?
Yeah, we should probably share these kind of.
You'll probably,
Yeah. Well,
I'm a driver, so.
Bless you.
I don't know, it's the first time. I'll be here.
Maybe two.
You're on, just
I'm good right here. One of the age-friendly initiatives is making sure that all of our chairs have arms.
Yes. Okay. But they don't roll.
Yes.
Okay.
Does Joanna have a chair with her?
She does,
She does,
yep.
okay.
Great. Well, I can start as Barbara was so kind to give me the lead here. It really was, it came out of a couple things for me. One, during my first 90 days, it took a surprising amount of time for me to, I think, figure out each of our roles. And I'll name them as the board of the fronts. The Board of the Council on Aging, you all, the office, and then the Friends of. And so as I started becoming more knowledgeable and having a grasp of what each of our roles are in supporting the mission, as the Friends is growing and having new members, they're coming to me, what is this? What do? I don't know. and so I thought not only is it useful for me, I hope it's useful for all of us to have clarity about each of our, for lack of a better word, entities in supporting the Council on Aging and ultimately our constituents. So we can do this a couple of different ways. I'm a teacher at heart, so I was like, we could workshop it, or we can just go through it. But, you know, again, my objective, I hope that we come out of this, is that we all understand one another's roles, and that we all are collaborators in supporting the Council on Aging. So I was wondering, the office certainly shares in the mission that the board had read out loud today, but the mission of the Friends, I found it, but I was curious what the mission of the Friends is.
Well, our mission is to raise our funds to fund your activities and whatever we can do, and to work on trying to get more funds for our senior center, which is our biggest project coming up. And I really would like to see that become a reality. I know it won't be pretty soon, but eventually we'll be having our center, I'm sure.
So, yeah, so absolutely, the Friends mission, and I printed out the, if you don't have it, I had wanted it electronically, if you don't have it already, the articles for the Friends of, they're over on the table. I also printed out the articles for the Council on Aging Board as well, just so that everybody can know what those look like. And certainly, all of these documents, while they are public knowledge, even for the nonprofit, they're still living documents. So they can be changed, and I think that's important to remember, particularly if they're out of date. But it is important to keep them up to date, because when you do have new members, be it volunteers, myself as staff, that's where we go to look for information. And if we aren't looking at the right information, then we're learning the wrong information. And so I put them out there, and you guys can do that. I put together, I'm happy to go through it. I don't feel like I want to read to you all. I tried to put together a sheet of, you'll see it has categories of the things that we're all responsible for, but also how I see it, the board of directors, the staff, and then the Friends. This is from my perspective. So take a look at it, review it, let me know if there should be edits. I don't know how many there are. But overall, sort of in summary, you can sort of see in the back is that from not looking at the details, but the Council on Aging Board is responsible for the governance and oversight. The Council on Aging Office provides the direct services to the seniors, and the Friends on Council Aging is a nonprofit organization that supports the work of the COA by fundraising and offering additional assistance through volunteers and such. So certainly if you want to take a minute to review it and read it, I would love for this to be a living document that maybe we can then hand out to people as they join us in any capacity to help explain what we do. So we can make edits. I think something to think about is, is there anything missing on here that you're like, oh, we do this, and it's a pretty big thing. Why is it not included? Or is there something on there that you're like, why is that on there? That's not a big deal. Maybe we should eliminate it to not cause confusion.
Oh, Alyssa?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just glancing at it quickly, and it looks very good, and it makes a lot of sense. Do you feel that some version of this would be appropriate to publish in a future newsletter?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I think that would help a lot of people in town, that they're like, well, who does what, and are you on this? And
Uh-huh.
it
Yeah.
might be, as a maybe, in January, not obviously November, December, maybe January.
Completely agree with that. I think it helps distinguish what's what, for sure.
And it might encourage more people to say, oh, this looks like interesting, you know, this, I might want to do that, so.
Just on our first reading through, I think it really does succinctly tell what we all do, and it's how I see the three organizations running and how they cooperate. So bravo getting it all on 2 pages.
Thank you. Yeah, I think one of the things, and this is really for my role, is knowing that I can't directly approach individuals for monetary contributions. That really is a friend's thing. If you need me to go there to support and say, talk about our programs and what we do, absolutely, but I cannot be the ask person. I think that was the big learning curve for me. However, the Council on Aging can accept monetary donations. If somebody says, hey, here you go, we can accept it, and that is absolutely okay under, the IRS Section 170. C1. So that's, and it's tax deductible on their end as well. And we can definitely ask for sponsorship, as we do for events and programming and so forth. It really is that individual piece that the office can't be asking for.
Okay, so, for instance, now I have a question. So when you do programs, like the Halloween party,
Yeah.
where there's a cost, is that going through the Friends, or is that, it's through our programming?
Yep.
And that you can accept as well as donations?
Yep, absolutely.
I'm just
So,
trying to
and we're
clarify
asking
where
Friends
the money
are
goes.
sponsoring a portion of it.
Right.
As, clearly our, the Long's Farm are giving the food, and in future cases, other things like the MCC, the Mass Cultural Council, and Mass Dot for the van and all that kind of thing.
Right. Just clarify.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
This is excellent.
Yes, it is. So you
This should be given
can,
to every person who is new to any board, any committee, anything,
Yes. We need a version of this for
Really?
library. I'm going to do that.
which we kind of working on.
so the COA, just to clarify in my brain, the COA can charge for programming provided, or maybe service provided, like the van. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, we can charge a fee, and, our aim is ideally to keep everything nominal. So it really is, when we have sponsorships, when we have donations, to lessen those fees, to make it as accessible as possible is not only needed, but certainly appreciated.
So that's where the Friends can come in
Yes.
for any programs that, it's obvious that some of the meals that are provided are not $5.
Yeah, yeah.
With an entertainer,
A lot of people don't realize that the meals that are provided at these events cost much more than what each person is contributing. And it's really important for them to know, right, plus the entertainer, that it's just not what we're charging the person, it's what we have to pay for a total amount for that meal.
Right.
And we try our best to keep that cost down, I know, to help these seniors. And
That's why we're lucky to have a Friends group.
Right.
that's right,
That's
that's right.
Because
So could that be mentioned at the functions that the Friends help sponsor?
Yeah, so I think in the ones that I've been at, we do. We thank all of our sponsors. At the Sounds of Music, it was sponsored by in part by Friends, in part by the Massachusetts Cultural Council. And and also let us not forget that there's staff time and involved in putting all these space by the town, which you otherwise would have to pay rent for.
Yes.
I find this very helpful. Thank you
Of course.
for putting it together.
Maybe it should go on the door of the COA.
Probably too long for people to read.
I also would like everyone to know, there are, a lot of the people in town don't realize if they can't come to these functions that we're providing or helping to pay for, that they will be given a ride here by the van at no expense for our events here. And that's important. I come across so many people that don't know that.
So I would, just to clarify, absolutely. So as Lisa requested that we did starting last newsletter, we can give a ride, provided we have a driver, for Groveland residents to our events. If they're coming outside of Groveland, we can absolutely share with them the resources that we know of. Haverhill, for example, Haverhill Council on Aging can call the NEAT drivers and ask for a NEAT. We do have the bus that goes directly in front of Town Hall for people to take that. But yes, Groveland residents, more than welcome to give them a ride for free to our events, to our office, for anywhere in Groveland, really. But we just have to make sure that we have a driver and van accessible.
Well, I know that it's been in our newsletter, but I think it's good to mention it here, so
Yeah.
people, there may be some people that not really look that well at our
Yeah.
newsletter, and
Yeah.
it's good to know.
Yeah. Thank you, Joanna. So is it, again, like I said, it's a living document. I want it to be accurate. I think one of the things that I didn't put on here, but I know would be useful from my observations, particularly for the Friends, is letting your members know what they can do. If they're a brand new member, it's always awkward, right? Can I vote? Do I not vote? How do I participate in the meetings? Do I say second? You know what I mean? So it might be worthwhile to put together sort of a welcome and how to. With that in mind, one moment.
And their bylaws. The bylaws need to be.
If you want, I do have, and this is something for any and all boards, the board orientation binder. I know that the COA board has talked about doing something like this before, so it sort of tells you some sort of you don't need to do all of these things, but it gives you at least some inspiration about what you could put in to a packet, a binder, a PDF of how to welcome people to your board. And so they know where to go for questions, and that they feel that they really can be an active member. I'll leave these over there unless you want me to pass them out. I can pass them out now. Fine.
Pass them out. I think you've been working overtime. Thanks.
Thank you.
So that was really about all I had. If there are any next steps, would love to document them, or any edits on here. Certainly, if you'd like to take time and email me instead, or in addition to, that would be great.
I've got plenty. I've got them.
Thank you. Gave us a lot to ponder.
So also, other resources over there include, like I said, the articles for both boards. There is the Massachusetts Council on Aging put together a Friends manual, just to be helpful. And then I think I also put over there sort of what a typical nonprofit board looks like, and the relationship of director and board chair, and how they work together and separately. But I mean, the big picture is governance, day-to-day fundraising. And none of us can do it alone, and we all are in it together. So thank you so much for being part of that team.
Is there any other discussion, questions? on this particular, what?
For them. We're doing this.
I'd just like to say thank you.
Mm-hmm.
This is, when I had this original idea of focus meetings a few months ago, this is exactly the kind of thing I was envisioning. I think we've all been educated. We all have some good ideas to take away from this, and perhaps some steps forward in how we can better create these binders or better work together and individually. So thank you very much.
Of course, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
And if I could mention also to remind everyone and anyone listening, we are still looking for our funds for our calendar, and would appreciate, we have a few more days left, so get your money out there. Thank you.
As far as that goes, for example, is there any information to update on that? How many calendars have been sold, for example, or?
Yes, John has that information. John?
About 99, almost 100. So we've got $1,000 in the account now from that. We were hoping to get a little bit more than that. If you guys could come up with at least 2 or 3 people that you can put in the pot, it will help. I brought in my neighbors. I hustled at least 4 of them and got a good contribution, so that's what you've got to do. Hustle.
Anything else? All right, the only other item on the agenda was the senior center. Is there any new information, updates, questions, comments? Any meetings that have been held, any events that have happened in regards to that?
I know at last meeting, and I think it was on the board minutes, that, I would take an active role in facilitating a task force. So if you are, and I want it to be a true working group, and I think the more people in that group may not necessarily be as efficient as we need it to be. And I don't want that to be heard as my voice isn't heard. I want it to be as I am represented, I feel well represented by a member of the COA board, by a member of the Friends of, by staff. Maybe we have a community member who uses our services and so forth. So if you are interested, I don't know how you all as individual groups want to put forth that person, but I'm more than happy to take that on.
So you're looking for, at some point, to have the Friends come up with a member who will be on the task force
Yeah.
for a new senior center, the board come up with a member who will be, and then to somehow
Yeah.
reach out. And
I
get-
mean, I'm up for discussion if you think that's limiting.
No, I
then-
think, I agree with you. I mean, too many people, yeah,
Too many people becomes cumbersome to try to schedule meetings.
yes.
And if each group knows who the representative is, they can certainly get their questions, concerns,
Mhm.
comments to that person, before the next task force meeting. So I'm in agreement with that.
Would you like to give us a date when you'd like that by?
No, no.
Sometimes a deadline helps.
Is there anyone here on the board, I'm going to speak up, anyone here on the board that would like to be on this committee, really like this is their passion?
Barbara, I thought you said you would be the
I-
point person from the board.
I would be happy, unless there was someone else who strongly wanted to, I'd be happy to do that.
Let's get moving.
Yeah.
Right?
I just didn't want to step on anybody else's toes if they're, oh darn, I wanted to do that. Okay. How about the Friends? Anybody that you would like to be on that task force?
I mean, I'd be happy to help also, because as the director of the library, I'm sure that if there is a community, you know, there's a stipulation where like the community can use it after a certain time of day, the library might be interested as well. So as a friend and a library director, I mean, unless anybody else
John,
wants that.
are you, you were so involved before, I just don't want to.
I don't want to take it.
I'm not insulted. You want, you want me to be on a task force on what?
Well, if you would like to be on task force, just to sort of revitalize our efforts on the senior center, you weren't, in the previous section, the board and I were talking about, for the next year, I as director really am focusing on marketing and visibility for the COA in general. And I was sort of thinking of that as a soft launch, if you will, to get the community started thinking about the community center, and then separately, so soft launch and then the actual launch of, okay, we're making a statement, we're going to do the senior center, you know, a ways down the road.
I'm not interested in the public relations part. I'm more than happy to help with, once the decision is made,
Okay,
I can help then.
okay,
I don't want to do the touchy-feely bit.
no, okay, okay, thank you.
Good way to phrase it.
All right, so then Darcy for the Friends, great.
Happy to do it.
Are there other groups that you think we should be asking? And certainly a constituent, somebody that uses our services, anybody else that we should look for?
Do we need to have a representative from town governance? Just a question, I have no clue.
That's
I
exactly
think
what
for
I was.
advocacy, that might be a good idea.
What's that?
For advocacy, that
Yeah.
might be a good idea.
I think
Yeah.
also as, I think, sorry, Alyssa, I think one other meeting you were talking about, you know, when we have future openings, for example, on different things, that we should be looking for people's skill set that can enhance the role. So I think, you know, having the board, the Friends, someone from town government, a constituent is great, but, and I'm not sure who that would be, I don't have any ideas at this point, but if you maybe could think of the skill sets that we might be missing,
Yeah,
Yes,
and
yes.
go out and target someone with an appropriate skill set.
okay, that's a great idea.
Not sure what that is, but.
Yeah,
that's-
well, maybe that's first meeting.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely figure out, making sure that we have all of the areas covered. Yeah. Thank you. I will coordinate.
Anything else for our meeting today? Okay, well, thank you all. If may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 10:37.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.